It's okay, don't worry, I know it's been over a week without an Assassin's Creed video, but I'm back, and I've got a slightly different supply for you all today. Unity will be making a comeback very soon, but I just fancied making a video on a different game in the series, and one that is arguably just as controversial. We begin Assassin's Creed Odyssey with some backstory about the Spartans, and the game showing us the greatest thing to ever happen to Assassin's Creed, the Spartan kick.
Hey, what's up guys? It's here.
And after watching a load of sweaty Greek people assert their dominance on one another in a battle that had slightly more homosexual energy than I was expecting, we are then transported to the modern day and dug up. It's nice to know what victims of necrophilia must see moments before feeling Jimmy Savile slip inside of them. One of the best things about Odyssey is that the modern day bullshit is very limited, as these politically correct women jack themselves into an animus and we're greeted with a difficulty option. And the description of the nightmare difficulty says, you enjoy pain. And I oftentimes log into Tinder, so I guess you could say, yes I do enjoy pain. So I take a deep breath, sniff some G Fuel, and select the nightmare difficulty. We're injected into the beautiful land of Greece, and within the first 5 seconds see a man's arse and penis hanging out, and I can already hear the absolute fume coming out of feminist Twitter. But feminist Twitter wouldn't be angry for too long, as we're introduced to Cassandra, a strong, independent, vagina-loving woman who stands up for what she believes in.
Cyclops got a message for you.
Stick it.
That's for last week!
Ancient Greece, where you could right hook a woman without any legal action. Nowadays, they want equal rights, but they don't want equal fights. Well, I'm sorry. If you want to vote, you've got to be expected to throw hands with me when things get a bit heated. However, Cassandra is one for equal fights, so she retaliates and slices up these men who were sent by the Cyclops into pieces so fine that Hannibal Lecter would be pleased. As well as being able to right hook women, Ancient Greece was also great because your girlfriends could be whatever age you wanted. Phoebe tells Cassandra that a man called Marcos was looking for her and wants her to go and meet him at his new vineyard. And that, back in Ancient Greece, is the ultimate flex. It wasn't rolling your blunts with backwoods or overdosing on Xanax. No, it was owning a vineyard. One of the reasons that people hated this game is they said it wasn't a real Assassin's Creed game, so I decided to put that to the test and see what Cassandra's aerial assassinations were like. And well, I wouldn't call literally sitting on someone's head an aerial assassination, but after that failure, Cassandra had to brutally murder the woman because the tension in the air was more awkward than that one time when I went to Comic-Con and said that Gollum was the best character in the MCU.
You bought a vineyard, Marcos? A vineyard?
Why not? I like wine, you like wine, everybody likes wine.
Marcus's excuse for owning a vineyard sounds exactly like the same excuse that will be used by people who are in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book. You love kids, we love kids, everybody loves kids, so why not sell kids? Despite being in debt to the Cyclops himself, Marcos is also owed some money from a guy called Doris. So Cassandra gets to choose a brand new horse from Marcos and go and collect this money from Doris.
Phoebe's been taken.
By who?
Thugs of the Cyclops. Who else? Snatched her right off the main road.
Tell me where they went.
In the direction of Itimena Beach. The beach? Can she swim?
Girl has been kidnapped. Takes her to the beach. Can she swim? And that's the thing we need to be worried about. So Cassandra's main duty now was to go and rescue Phoebe from some of the Cyclops' thugs. But with it being an extremely hot day in Greece, I decided to make sure that Cassandra had her priorities straight and was able to cool off. Because while saving a child's life is important, heat stroke is an absolute pain in the arse. Cassandra's body temperature now at a much more suitable level, we pulled up on our brand new horse that I'll just call John and began to scour the area where Phoebe's kidnappers were located for hidden cameras, as YouTube prank channels these days really have gotten out of hand, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if this was the kidnapping a random child prank. If it was a prank, then Cassandra is definitely going to give them a reason to have gone wrong in the title, because she just starts murdering them all.
Cassandra, I'm here! Untie me!
Alright, I'm just looting. That's more important than untying you right now, okay? Have you seen what sort of gear I'm in at the moment? This is not going to protect me from endless angry Greek people swinging their swords at me. So right now, finding decent armor is more important than untying you, girl. With the new armor secured, it was time to free Phoebe and have a little conversation with her. But during this conversation, Cassandra just completely blanks out and doesn't listen to anything Phoebe is saying because she's having a flashback about her childhood. Her father training her in combat. And while it looks extremely innocent, I feel like the gear that he's wearing is a little bit inappropriate for a father to be wearing around his daughter. Then again, if girls weren't exposed to unconsenting penis at a young age, rebound I hate my father sex wouldn't be a thing. And that's the best kind of intercourse. So after a wholesome, if not suggestive memory as to why Cassandra is a lesbian in this game, we hop on John and go get Marcos' money back from Doris. To get Marcos' money back, all Cassandra had to do was destroy a few of Doris' pots, which may or may not have had his family's remains in them, but when you're a strong independent woman like Cassandra, you don't care about that. Despite only just getting his money back from Doris, Marcos was still in a lot of debt with the Cyclops, and being in debt to someone in ancient Greece was actually really terrifying. Because if you didn't know, the term loan shark actually come from when someone was owed money and they'd just get sick of their excuses, so they'd rock up with a great white to try and threaten it out of them. And surprisingly, great whites just have a real way with words that makes you want to give back the money. We then get another flashback to Cassandra's childhood and realise how she met Marcos. She tried to recreate Life of Pi, but failed miserably and ended up nearly drowning, washing up on the shore of a random island, where a creepy man began to approach her, so for all she knew, this could have been Jeffrey Epstein's private island. Let's hope her dad was into foot massages.
I do something for you?
You do a few things for me?
Yeah. This is definitely Jeffrey Epstein's private island. However, Cassandra possibly being groomed at a young age by Marcos, and both of them being in serious debt to the Cyclops, was the least of their worries, as an elderly woman who crafts bows was actually robbed of her special wood by some bandits. So it was up to Cassandra to go and get this wood back from these bandits, and in return the old lady would craft her a bow with this special wood. At this point, I wasn't actually sure if this wood was genuine wood, or if special wood was just her nickname for a new Viagra company that she was working on. But either way, I was happy with the rewards. So Cassandra assassinated everyone at the bandit camp, teaching them the lesson of, if you're going to steal from an older lady, at least make sure you incapacitate her first so she doesn't remember who did it. Unless of course they have Alzheimer's, that is the only exception to not incapacitating an elderly person when stealing from them. A couple of years ago, one of my first jobs was actually looking after a patient with Alzheimer's, and I'd have to go to his house every day to make sure everything was all good. And it was so sad, because every day he would ask me if I was his son, because he couldn't remember what his son looked like. So obviously I told him yes, as he was loaded, and I then got a weekly allowance from him as he thought I was his son. Morally questionable? Yes. Did I use that money to kickstart my YouTube career? Yes. The last bandit left at this lumber yard was an archer, and it was clearly he had put years of hard work and precise training into trying to be the best that he could be at this craft. So I decided to show him the respect he deserved and fight back using only Cassandra's bow and arrow as well. Obviously that was a lie. I Spartan kicked him so many times that he could no longer physically stand and was taking in his last few breaths. So I thought the perfect way to finish him off was to give him a quick dip in the sea and see how he'd handle it. He couldn't stand anymore, but could he swim? Well, the answer to that was a big no-no, and I couldn't work out if he drowned to death or he just died from the internal bleeding from all of those Spartan kicks. And we got this special wood back to the old lady, and as promised, Cassandra got a brand new bow crafted from hand just for her. She was also nice enough to set out some test dummies so Cassandra could warm up her shot and get familiar with the bow, but they weren't needed. Cassandra prefers testing our bows on real-life targets, so the innocent people of this small Greek town seem like the perfect candidates. Getting back to Marcos, and he finally come to the conclusion that we were never going to be able to pay the Cyclops back in time. So it was time to take some action. This action included stealing the Cyclops' glass eye, which was actually very easy to steal. I guess you could say it was like taking candy from a baby, even though I've never really liked that saying that much. Like, why would you steal from a baby? That's just not cool, dude. Come on. Steal from elderly people with Alzheimer's, like I told you earlier. So now, with his eye stolen, the Cyclops was more aggravated than ever, and he pulled up with his crew by the docks, so it was time to go down there, find him, and assassinate him. But obviously, I'm an alpha male. We're playing on nightmare difficulty out here, like a real epic gamer. So this isn't going to be an easy task, by any stretch of the imagination. At least that's what I thought anyway, before we just took out all of his men, and I just kinda one-banged him accidentally while aiming for someone else with my bow and arrow. Well, I guess that's just what you get for being an alpha male gamer like me, who always plays on the hardest difficulty and never, ever turns it down, no matter how much trouble I'm having. Playing on easy is for virgins, and if there's one thing that I'm not, boys, it is a virgin. The Cyclops was dead, and Marcos and Cassandra were free of their debt. And when killing the Cyclops, we saved a ship captain who was now forever in Cassandra's debt. So he was willing to take her anywhere with his crew, as we could now get off the island of Kefalonia and explore the rest of ancient Greece. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the most controversial Assassin's Creed game ever released. Is it an Assassin's Creed game? No. Is it a fun game though? Absolutely. Let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. If you do want to see any more games, then also be sure to leave them in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do be sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video, and subscribe if you are new around here and enjoy the content. I appreciate you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. I just want to give a quick shout out to my motherlode Voiy Bois, Gerardo Cruz. Thank you very much for being a Tier 3 member.